Hey, sports fans, it's Larry Eder in San Jose, California, with Stuart Weir in Oxford, England, and this is Athletic at number 9. Hello, Stuart. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Yeah, great to hear from you again.
Good to hear from you. A whole week has transpired, and we're going to solve all the world's problems. Well, most of the athletic problems. I think some of them are unsolvable. But just got a press release that Chicago Marathon's been canceled. I don't think that's any big surprise. But any more info on the London Marathon?
I haven't heard anything. I continue to think that it really cannot take place in anything kind of recognizable form.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're optimistic. I mean, like the Gateshead Birmingham Diamond League has still not been cancelled because there's sort of this optimism that perhaps things will change, perhaps it will be possible to have spectators and so on. But I don't see any of that happening.
Yeah. Well, maybe COVID will just go away, as the President of the United States says every couple days. You know. Shoot, but I'm not sure. Speaking of that, so Inspiration Games, speaking of inspiration, was a fun event. And you wrote 5 very thoughtful columns, and we have those up. What were your deep thoughts on the Inspiration Games?
Well, I mean, the first thing it was just exciting and fun to see athletes running again.
Sure.
And I mean, we'd seen the Garden pole vault, and we'd seen a bit of the Ingebrigtsens running against the Kenyans and all that. But actually, just to have these cleverly conceived races like Alison Felix in California running against Shawnee Miller-Weibo in Florida, and then Malinga in Switzerland, cleverly edited together, so that they appeared to be running against each other. So, I mean, I thought that was good, and the meet was well put together. Shock horror, we even had some triple jump.
Yeah, I know. That was amazing.
In a Diamond League, whatever next. And of course, and as John Milkane of the World Athletics has suggested, we saw Noah Lyles setting a world record for the 185 meters.
Yes, and I think we should start keeping a record at that distance.
Yeah,
I think we will take it upon ourselves to do that. You know,
for anyone who didn't see what happened, Noah was running in the 200 meters race and thought he had won and broken the world record, and then they realized he'd actually been shown the wrong start line, and he'd only run 185 meters rather than 200.
And you so thoughtfully reminded us of the time we were in Manchester at the City Games when Jessica Ennis thought she had broken the world record, and she had for the 9 hurdle 100-meter hurdles.
Yes.
But not for the one that is more often run, the 10 hurdle 100-meter hurdles.
But of course, what was so funny about that one is it took such a long time to realize, because she'd actually done all her media and saying how happy she was with the race, and then having to come back, having been told, well, actually, there were only 9 hurdles and it doesn't count. I mean, she could have just gone out and jumped another hurdle.
That's true. That's true. Well, don't you recall, was it London World Champs? Was it Beatrice Chepkoech who
yes,
a barrier and had to go back around?
Yeah.
That was just totally surrealistic.
By the way, Lara, if you ever see her, do remind her about that. She really enjoys being reminded of that.
Oh, I bet she does. No. Yeah, those are the kind of things that you bring up to athletes just when you want to annoy them. Yeah. And I try not to do that. So I understand your British Championships are still going to go on. Is that what it looks like right now?
Yeah, they're definitely going ahead, but in an empty stadium.
Okay.
And I don't think that I will go to it because I am old. The government has told me I'm old. I hadn't realized this, but now it's useful to have the government telling me. But again, okay, so you've got a British Championship, but quite how they're going to do that, either they're going to have to set the bar higher so you have less athletes, or have an awful lot of prelims. And then for us, mixed zone people, I just can't see how you can do a mixed zone if everyone has to be 2 meters apart. And I mean, how many media people can you allow to be in that area anyway? So I think they're probably doing this because television said that they would take it and therefore pay them money, and because athletes pay their own expenses for the British Championship, then the cost is not that great. So I think it's probably just it works commercially and they're actually doing something. I mean, the Diamond League, the Gates at Birmingham one, is still in the program, but I don't see that happening. And in fact, Joe Coates, the CEO, had told me that it's not economically viable without spectators, and there's no real possibility of spectators being allowed anytime soon.
What are the big topics in the UK right now on athletics?
Well, I don't really think there are any, because it's sort of so low profile. I mean, it was interesting that British Athletics made 2 athletes available last week, Jake Whiteman and a different spelling, Laura Whiteman. And it was interesting, really, that there were 3 journalists, myself included, who signed up for the first one, and 2 of us for the second one. Which, I mean, just athletics really just isn't in the newspapers at all at the moment. Nothing really is happening. I mean, I saw Mo Farah on TV tonight talking about his 1-hour time trial, which he's doing in Brussels during the Diamond League. So basically, he and I don't know who else are going to run around the track for an hour to see how far they go.
Yeah, that's I've done those. Those are really exciting races. So the Chinese just announced no sporting events in China until the end of 2021. And they're supposed to be hosting an Olympics in 2022.
And a World Indoor.
And a World Indoor, which, is on my list of events that, I want to go to after COVID-19. The Paris is in 2024 for the Olympics. LA is 2028. When do you think we're going to get back to normal? How long do you think it's going to take?
I would love to think I'm going to go to the Olympics in 2021, but I become more and more doubtful of it. I mean, apparently a survey of people in Tokyo, just, the man in the street, 70% of them said it's not going to happen. And they're talking about, even if they're doing it, slimming it down. I don't quite know what that means. But I mean, we've said before, if you want to spread the virus, I've got this great idea. Why don't you bring 10,000 people, 15,000 people from 200 countries and make them live side by side? I mean,
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. Unless you've got a vaccine, or unless COVID has died away for some other reason, I can't see that happening. 2022, perhaps we'll have a full season. And the one interesting thing that did come out of the 2 white men is that both of them said that they planned to do the World Championships, the Commonwealth Games, and the European Championships, within about a 5-week period. But both of them said we'll probably switch events.
Wow.
Like Jake said, I don't think I could do 3 1500s, but perhaps I could do a 1500, an 800, and then one or other at the third event. And similarly, Laura said, well, again, I wouldn't do 3 5000s, but perhaps I could do a 1500 in the middle. So I think that's interesting that with such a busy 2022, people are already thinking of that. But I mean, it's very interesting that you're saying about the world indoors. Now, obviously, isn't going to happen, but I just can't imagine who would have risked going to China in March.
Yeah, no, that's what I was very, very concerned about. How do you think athletics is going to change after COVID? Are we going to see full stadiums again?
I mean, I think yes. I would hope that we would see full stadiums, but it's an issue for all sports. I mean, like the Rugby Football Union, which runs rugby in England, has just announced, I think it's 100 redundancies because they've lost £100 million of income this year. And I mean, this must be the same for so many sports.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is something which bothers us because sport in the UK has been well funded by the government. But, the government is borrowing so much money at the moment to keep the economy going. You wonder whether there will be money for sport. I don't think we'll see as many funded athletes in future years as we have at the moment. And I just don't know. I mean, we have 100, just under 100 professional soccer clubs. Yeah. And, there's rumors that 20 to 30 of those could go bust. And it's the same. Well, I mean, they've had no income. They've had no income for the last 6 months. Yeah. And, there'll be the same knock-on effect in track and field athletics. That the money that British athletics would have got from the anniversary games and the Birmingham Gateshead Diamond League, they won't get any of that. And that will be a massive hole in their purse. And then the money they get annually from the government could well diminish significantly over the next few years. And then sponsorship. I think this will probably be the hardest time to be going out to business, which is struggling, to ask for sponsorship. So, I mean, I think that we might see less money, certainly, in the sport and less funded athletes. Yeah. Perhaps athletes competing for less prize money. And I think it's a hard time. Yeah.
Yeah. You heard about Shelby Houlihan running 14:23 and Mo Ahmed running 12:47 in Portland, Oregon on Friday night.
Impressive times.
Yes. Shelby has already had the North American best at 1,500 with her 3:54 from Doha, and also her 5,000. But she destroyed her 5,000 record, and I thought Carissa Schweitzer, woman from the University of Missouri, who was with Shelby till 200 meters to go and ran 14:26. The two young American athletes have the number 12, number 14 times. And then I just love Mo Ahmed. He's from the University of Wisconsin, so from my neck of the woods. And when he won his bronze medal in Doha, he was so funny at the press conference. He just was having a great time. And, he almost got knocked off his feet. That was that men's 5,000 in Doha was like roller derby and professional wrestling all thrown in. And he ran a 3:58 last 1,600, so pretty darn impressive. And so hats off to Shelby and to Carissa and to Mo Ahmed and the Bowerman Track Club for putting on the meet. There's been a few meets in lovely Portland. I know that Pete Julian's group the week before had a 1,500 where Donovan Brazier ran a 3:35, the fastest time in the world. So some kind of fun things going on. Any meets in the UK right now?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, I think the British Championship first week in September is potentially going to be the first thing. And I mean, strange, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Shelley Ann Fraser Price ran in 11 seconds
Yes.
last weekend, which is an incredibly impressive time, given that, like everyone else, she's struggling to train. And I believe, strange that it may seem in July to say this, I believe that was her first race of the season.
Yes, that's what I thought as well. Shelly Ann's always a lot of fun. You just did a piece with her about 3 weeks ago, I think. And we'll have to resend that around so people can enjoy that with some fun pictures. Love the pictures this weekend from the Impossible Games.
Indeed.
The Christophe Lamothe, what's fun about one of his pictures that we put up is you can see the cardboard cutouts of the people in the stands.
Yes.
I love that, you know?
Yeah.
Just keep it fun. And you were telling me a few weeks ago, Stuart, that the German football club Dortmund was offering for what, 20 sterling or 20 euros?
Something like that, You can have a cutout of yourself.
You know, that's what I want, is a cutout of myself in Dortmund, Germany. You know, I'll figure out the right shirt, too, for that. That would be a lot of fun. You know?
I mean, be careful, Larry, because, I mean, if the cardboard cutout's good, we might find that that you're not needed even on the podcast. We'll just use the cardboard cutout.
You know, that makes a lot of sense because, you know, sometimes, you know, it's just and if you could have the mouth opening like Monty Python. You know, we were watching a special Monty Python episode. They've got a set on Netflix now about the history of them. And it's funny to see some of the goofy shows that were on in the UK in the 60s, you know, and really got a kick out of that. So it keeps it a lot of fun. You've interviewed Christian Taylor a few times.
Yes.
So what did he think about the triple jump experience?
Well, I mean, Christian is the ultimate professional, and he always says the right things on the right occasion.
Yeah.
Although I did draw to his attention my tongue-in-cheek piece about called "Triple Jump in an Age of Prohibition."
Yes.
And about how it probably wasn't coincidence that the three triple jumpers were in different locations 3,000 miles apart, probably for their own safety, because they were practicing this very dangerous and outlawed discipline called the triple jump. I mean, Christian must feel incredibly frustrated when he is the best in the world at something, and the Diamond League say, well, actually, we're not that interested because we don't actually want it in any of our Diamond Leagues.
Yeah.
And I mean, Christian will be okay because he's got his sponsors and all that. But, you know, the number 4, 5, 6, 7 in the world will struggle to make money. And the women will struggle to make money. I mean, Katura Orji, again, I did a piece with, and I mean, she's saying that, and also, I mean, how do you improve the discipline if there's no opportunity to compete?
Yeah, no, that's my issue, and you know, I know the sport has to change and to grow, but I sometimes think that there's change for change's sake.
Yeah, but I mean, we laugh about this, how the Diamond Leagues apparently have to be 90 minutes because this is the proper length of a session of track and field athletics. Why don't we do a world championship, perhaps in Doha, with 8-hour sessions?
I know. It was just, and keep it nice, and always pick places that are nice and hot, too.
Yeah.
Where you have to have the biggest air conditioning units in the world, you know. That was the one word I would use to describe the walk from my Uber each day to the stadium, which was about 2.5 miles till I got into everything, was stifling. By the time we would get up, a lot of times the elevators were broken, and so we were getting a little more exercise in. We would be soaked. Yeah. And then you'd go sit down, and you would have this Arctic blast hit you. And I'm surprised more people didn't get sick. I'm surprised some of the athletes didn't get sick. That was always one of my things about Doha. I mean, I love the experience. Except my time in the Kuwait City airport, 17 hours each way, which was pretty special. They did have a Starbucks, though, Stuart, so I was happy with that. But it was rather a challenge.
But of course, in the Doha, in the UK, we in a theatre we call it the gods where you were.
Yeah,
I mean, right up, so far up. I mean, about 4 levels up from where I was. But I just think they put the troublemakers up there.
I think they put the troublemakers up there, and they wanted me to exercise because they knew it was good for my heart. So I appreciated that. The thoughtfulness, and sometimes I was kind of going, who did I annoy this time? And the list is so long that sometimes we have to deal with it. When do you think we'll see marathons next year?
I just don't know. I mean, it's
over here it's just weird. American football's supposed to start, and then the top health CDC person, Dr. Fauci, who was the advisor to Mr. Trump, and now he's not talking to him, is saying that it's going to be very difficult to do a professional sport in this current situation.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering too.
Yeah, I mean, see, with us, Premier League soccer is going on and flourishing because they have got such big TV contracts that paying spectators perhaps only 10% of their income, if that. But no other sport is like that. And so therefore, everything else is struggling. And, the sums of money they say that Tokyo is losing, if the because the games was postponed, and then if it doesn't take place next year, makes you wonder, whether Paris, LA, whoever's going to be next, whether anyone will want to take on the Olympics, because it's just such a risk if it goes wrong.
Guy drew the 1976 Olympic gold medalist at the 110 hurdles, and he was quoted Inside the Games blog that he said Paris would not be prepared to handle a pandemic or health issues. And I know that one of the leftist mayoral candidates in Paris said there should be a referendum about canceling the Olympics. You're looking at it right now, and I recall as early as 2008, we were all questioning whether the Olympics in the current form could continue. And I did a BBC piece where I mentioned on BBC America that I could see doing something like Turkey and Greece at the time. Turkey was a bastion of normality, and everybody got along, and the president wasn't, turning historical churches into mosques and things. So people looked at it and said, yes, it's to be a wonderful Arabic country to have an Olympics in. But I thought about Greece and Turkey doing it, and then I've wondered for a long time why they just don't have the Olympics in Greece every 4 years, and because the EU wouldn't have to bail them out anymore. The country would be thriving. But with the pandemic, all bets are off, and that's our challenge right now. I think athletes seem to be doing fairly well. There's frustration from everybody we talk to. Jeff Benjamin, one of my writers over here, has interviewed 51 athletes, and he asked them the same 2 questions. How are you faring during the pandemic? How would you tell people to train during the pandemic? And while people have interesting things to say, it's about controlling your situation, appreciating the culture, appreciating what's going on right now, and staying safe, on the daily training information that I put up every day, I always ended with stay safe, isolate, and I know it's frustrating not to be around people, but it's a big, big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just, it's going to be interesting to see kind of how it goes. Our friend Bianca Williams, anything new with her?
No. I think it is probably blown over, so to speak. I think that there's some kind of independent inquiry into the police action. The police have apologized without actually apologizing. Let me tell you a great story. There was an English cricketer.
Yep.
His ears slightly stuck out.
Okay.
And a journalist actually wrote. The name was Andrew Caddick. And the journalist wrote, Andrew Caddick's ears stick out.
Okay.
And Caddick objected to this and asked for an apology. And the journalist duly apologized, writing, I am very sorry that Andrew Caddick's ears stick out.
I like that.
I sort of feel that the Metropolitan Police have apologized in that spirit.
Yes.
Okay. We are very sorry you were upset.
Wow.
We're not sorry that we handcuffed you. We're not sorry that we've stopped Ricardo 15 times. And we don't seem to have any record of this to actually just check his number plate when we stop him, to note that we've actually stopped him 14 previous times. But we're very sorry if this caused them any distress. So it's how to apologize without apologizing, I would say.
Well, I just recall,
No, I just got to say, to be fair, when the Commissioner of Police, i.e. the Chief Police Officer for London, said, I have asked for a review of the use of handcuffs, I suppose that's as close as she can come to saying, we got this wrong, we shouldn't have handcuffed her.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a difficult job for her because she doesn't want to demoralize her officers and so on. But I mean, I think it was great that Linford Christie just spoke up so clearly on the issue, because he's a highly respected athlete and black athlete. And that the other comment was that Ricardo said, when I drove a Nissan, the police were never interested in me. When I bought a Mercedes, they stopped me 15 times.
Well, Bobby Kersey told me a story that's appropriate now. This has got to be 4 years ago. We were just sitting at a track meet chewing the, time away. And we were talking about, I had shared with him that a couple of my young African-American athletes had been followed around at a track meet. And he smiled at me and told me that he was at his buddy's apartment and had ordered a pizza. They were going to have pizza and beer and watch a track meet on TV. And he went to the door with a hoodie on, and the pizza guy called the police and said, I think I'm about to be robbed. And the police officers ran up to the door, saw Bobby with the hoodie on, and one of the cops had been a track athlete, and he goes, you're Coach Kersey. And Coach goes, yes. And he goes, you're not trying to rob anybody. And Bob goes, no, I'm not. And then Bobby figured out what the hell was going on. Yeah. He was not happy,
No.
And then Bobby and Jackie, I believe JJK is one of their kids, got stopped driving a nice car, a high schooler in Missouri, which, I was raised there and I could understand that happening. So it's a part of African Americans' lives over here. It's just crap. There's nothing else you can say about it. No apologies, no nothing.
I mean, I was talking to an athlete this week. I can't name the athlete because I don't have her permission. But she told me that she's one of the world's most famous athletes. Mm-hmm. And she told me that she was flying somewhere first class. And as she stood in the line, an agent of the airline came over and said to her, excuse me, madam, I think you're in the wrong line. This is first class.
Wow.
And the athlete said to me, obviously, because I'm a black woman, the agent assumed that I wouldn't be flying first class.
Wow.
But I mean, it's this kind of what Linford Christie calls institutionalized racism.
Oh, yes, totally. No, it's in the system. And I was under the mistaken belief that it did not happen in Europe and did not happen in the UK, you know?
Well, I was horrified to discover how widespread it is.
Yeah.
Talking to British, we call them black athletes. And yeah, I mean, Ricardo did a TV interview when he actually smiled and said, look, this is my normal. Since I've hit the car, I've been stopped 15 times. And there wasn't a word of any kind of aggression in it at all.
No.
And you know, I mean, again, I wrote in the piece, which you haven't posted yet, that I understand police stopping people for alleged motoring offences, and I've been stopped myself. They didn't drag me out of the car. They didn't handcuff me. And they didn't have baseball bats in their hands.
Yeah.
And there weren't four of them, all of which was what they were doing with Bianca Williams and Ricardo dos Santos. So it just doesn't quite fit. I mean, actually, the leader of the opposition in Parliament actually said there are questions that need to be answered about this, and the police have not yet answered them. And I was just delighted that someone of his standing spoke up for that.
I thought the piece you put up a week or so ago with Dina Asher-Smith, one of my faves, was well articulated and reminded us of just how silly this stuff is. And I seem to recall a story, too, with a couple American athletes going into first class and getting some strange looks, and which I think is, you know, crap. But that's obviously that's the way some of these things are. So let's start a new game. I think each week we should think about where's the first meet we're going to see each other at. So I'm going to predict Birmingham Indoor 2021, Mueller Birmingham meet.
Yeah.
You think I'm being a little
No, I don't. Sadly, I don't.
Yeah.
Sadly, I don't.
Yeah, I just, you know, I try to, I was telling my son the other day, you know, this time of the summer, I've normally just left Paris heading to Stockholm or, you know, or one of the other Scandinavian meets. And then Monaco would be in a week, you know?
Yes.
And,
yeah. Well, I am holding up my little black book, which tells me that on Tuesday of next week, I am flying to Japan for the Olympics.
Wow, good for you.
But sadly, not this year.
Did they let you refund the ticket and move it till next year?
Well, and that's interesting. I in January, February, I booked 16 trips, and I've got half my money back. And I have got probably a third of my money in vouchers for next year.
Wow.
Which is fine, provided next year happens.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I had prepaid the Stockholm and the Zurich hotels for the Diamond League for next year, and they both very graciously agreed to carry that forward. I was going to fly to Tokyo with KLM, the Dutch-French airline, and they have said that they will carry forward it's about $1,500 for the next 18 months. But then that's great, provided there's somewhere to go in the next 18 months. Otherwise, I lose this.
That's true.
But it's... I mean, I just don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what is happening in the Monaco Diamond League, the Brussels, and then Doha, which is. I mean, they're doing that in October, and I mean, athletes I talk to are saying, well, the one thing that I'm definitely doing because of the way this year has panned out is I'm going to finish early, rest early, get into winter training early. So therefore, competing in October, I don't think will work for many athletes.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. So here's my final question of the day. Let's just say that Noah Lyles had run 1910, and it was an actual 200 meters, and broken the world record. Would a world record running by yourself be harder, do you believe, than in people in virtual races? Or is it tougher to have people competing next to you?
I would think it must be harder to run on your own.
That's what I would think too. Yeah. No, I just, and I thought Noah did a really nice job with it. It was nice to see Trandi Martina out there. Nice to see Christophe Lamotte, who's a character himself.
Yes.
He lives up in the Pyrenees with his coach and stuff. So we are down to less than 50 seconds. Stuart, thank you again for Athletics Chat 9. I'll be getting these up in the next few days. Thanks to Mike Deering for managing and producing all this and dealing with us each week. I know it's got to be difficult for him. And a early happy birthday to Michael Deering, who turns 33 tomorrow on Bastille Day. The French are going to celebrate his birthday, and I will probably have a glass of wine in his honor.
What, the French are celebrating by cutting his head off, do you mean?
Well, yeah, the guillotine thing is a good deal. They try to do a little trim, but sometimes it's just it's special. But my friend, I will see you next week.
Indeed.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Our friends at RunBlogRun, thank you for listening to Athletic Chat and viewing us. And if you have questions, talk to you soon. Bye now. Hey, sports fans, it's Larry Eder with RunBlogRun. This is the Athletics Chat numero 9 Epilogue. So this Athletics Chat was an idea that came from Mike Deering and Adam Johnson Eder of the Shoe Addicts. And the idea was, that's me, to have a weekly conversation with our friend in the United Kingdom, that's Stuart Weir, who lives in Oxford. So I'm in San Jose, California for a while. And Stuart is in Oxford, England. And we're both dealing with COVID-19. He is considered an old person in the UK, so he has to really, really behave, which is quite difficult for him. But, we like him, and, he's, part of the Commonwealth, and, that's a cross to bear, but, we deal with it. So our topics today, Chicago Marathon was canceled this morning. I don't think of the Chicago Marathon, also sponsored by Nike, really had any choice. Chicago Marathon, I think, is the most underrated marathon of the World Marathon Majors, Wanda World Marathon Majors. It's a great course. It's fast. It takes care of citizen runners very, very well. And it's learned and grown after a very difficult year of heat. But COVID-19 is something you just can't play with. And the city fathers and community made some decisions, and Kerry has to respect that. Now what we've got left for this year is the London Marathon. We'll see what happens. Stuart doesn't think it's going to happen in any way that resembles the race in the past. Inspiration Games. Fantastic. Bravo, World Athletics, bravo, Wanda Diamond League. And how they put together meets in 9 different places. Pretty amazing. Pole vault, triple jump. We loved the irony of the triple jump. The Diamond League is not including it, but it was here, and more people probably got to see the triple jump than have seen it in a long time. And I do think it's pretty bogus to play with the triple jump, one of the oldest events in the sport. And with such amazing athletes like Christian Taylor and Omar Craddock and Pedro Pichardo. It's just silliness. But I've digressed. So after the Inspiration Games, big topics, okay, not a lot going on. Jake Whiteman and Lisa Whiteman were interviewed by a few British journals, including our own Stuart Weir. So we hopefully will see something in the future. What about 2024 and 2028? Guy Drew, 1976 Olympic medalist in Montreal, 110 hurdles. And I have a picture of him and Rod Milburn, the silver medalist, with camel and filters in their mouth right after the race. Totally cool. It's on my special wall. I love Guy Drew and Rod Milburn. But he questioned whether Paris could handle the event in a pandemic. LA will be in 2028. I think hopefully they will be ready. But I question what's going to happen in 2021. 70% of Tokyo's men and women on the streets do not believe that the 2020 Olympics will happen. And I tend to side with them. I don't think 2022 in China is going to happen. The Chinese, just so you know, shut down all international sporting events for the rest of 2021. It's a fact of life. It's not a communist plot. It's not a violation of our rights. There are dead people. There are people dying. And the truth is, for what we know now, and we're learning new each day, you need to wash your hands 20 seconds when you get in and out of cars, when you go to places, like the Larry Bear move. You must wear a mask. It's not that damn hard. If I can do it, you can do it. So stop whining and stay healthy and safe. California is going to be shutting stuff down again. My little friends in the medical community told me we're not even through the first wave, and the second wave is going to hit pretty hard in the fall, and there's possibly going to be a third wave. How do they do this? They model it after the 1919 Spanish flu, because there's many similarities. Will we have a vaccine? Still don't know, so stay safe, isolate, be careful, okay? End of my epistle. Shelby Houlihan, 1423, Krista Schweitzer, 1426. They're number 12 and number 14 on the all-time 5,000 list. That happened Friday night. So happy for both of them. And Bowerman Track Club, led by Jerry Schumacher, Pascal Daubert. Fantastic. We're going to have some pictures up, thanks to Courtney White, from the meet the week before. So look forward to seeing some of these events. Mo Ahmed, one of my favorite human beings, and he's Canadian, but he's also a Wisconsin Badger. Go Badgers. He ran 12:47:26, I think. Number 10 all time, and a 3:58 last mile. That kid's got wheels. He's been in the hunt. He's been a world championship bronze medalist. Pretty excited when he was in Doha last year. Just a great guy. So it's good to see good people doing well. Lopez Lamong, 36 years young. Guy's run 27:06 for a 10,000. I think he's run 3 10,000s and PB'd in each one of them. And done very well in the 5 too. It's on a 144-800, a 353 mile. Pretty impressive. And he continues to excel. And remember, Carlos Lopes was almost 37 when he won a marathon in LA. Thought you'd like that. Little trivia. Thanks again to Stuart Weir for putting up with me for almost 40 minutes. And thank you, dear and kind viewers, listeners, readers, and associates in this global illusion. But stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask. Even the president's doing it, okay? Be careful. It doesn't matter if you think you're going to catch it or not. You could give it to somebody else, and you don't want to do that. We just don't know if people are going to get the tough one or an easy one, and that's nothing to play with. So stay safe, isolate. This is Larry Eder with RunBlogRun, saying so long, farewell, adieu to you and you and you. Yes, Sound of Music. From San Jose, California, in the backyard of my parental units. This is Athletic Chats number 9. Ciao. Bye. Talk to you soon.